Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic regarding AI that has been trending actually lately. So let's get to it. If you are not familiar with my channel, I talk about all kinds of various technologies starting from Python to React to Angular to Spring Boot to Java to MySQL and all the other great stuff. So please go ahead, subscribe my channel and hit the notification icon so that you get notified with all the new videos that is going to come in the future. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is how to run your own model locally. Yeah, really. There's a way to do it, and there is a very easy way to do it, depending on what kind of systems you're running, what kind of laptops, or and how much power you got. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to add this video to one of my playlists that is has artificial intelligence as a title. So this video will be added in this playlist, but you can also look it up using my list of videos as well. All right, so let's get to it. Now, as we all know, we are very much familiar with all these chat assistants that is helping us every day. One of them is ChatGPT. There's Claude AI. There are Gemini. I mean, all these are great tools, and there are others as well. Well, in a way, they have been kind of like the integral part of our daily life nowadays because, to be honest with you, I don't go to Google much. I mean, Google is great. It gives me answer, but most of the time I'll be asking questions either to Claude or ChatGPT to provide me an answer because it's kind of similar, to search. The only difference is I don't have a link. But I mean, again it does the job because most of the time I deal with the technology related questions. All right, so here's the problem that I was having today. So, for example, I had this nice set of instructions, long instructions that basically tells you how to run your local model. Now, as you know, if you have been to my channel, I have videos that typically has also a really nice flow chart if it has some kind of uh, set up step-by-step workflow instructions. Now, my problem was out of all these lengthy instructions, I need to come up with a flow chart. I need to draw a flow chart using Markdown. Now, yeah, before probably AI, I was doing it manually in a way, using certain tools, for Markdown and literally, you know, writing the graph in as text. Well, here's ChatGPT to save me, right? I don't have to do that anymore. Here's what I did. Look, all I said here is generate eye-catching, captivating, useful, extract, exact workflow in graph, LR Marmite in Markdown based on the following instructions. So I literally just put this much stuff, and I already had the instructions, by the way. So I just put the whole instruction in. It gave me this nice little code that now I can literally copy and put it into the Markdown, and it will show me the exact chart. And it literally does. It actually gave me this nice chart. So as you could see, that you can't live without this kind of chat assistance anymore. Okay, so that said, let's dig into some issues with that. Here's the issue. Well, in this example, of course, this is literally for the public, so maybe it's not an issue. But think about you're typing something personal or certain data that you don't want ChatGPT or even Gemini or Claude or anyone out there, the large companies, to know. So how do you deal with that? And that's, of course, that's a bigger problem, right? Because that's a security issue. Yeah, you can argue that you are logged in using your own account, so it is only proprietary to you. Yeah, great. But again, even though how much they tell you that all of your information is safe and it's being encrypted and all that, let's say you don't trust anyone, and I don't. So in that case, what would be nice is exact same interface you want it to run locally on your machine. Your model is in your machine. Whatever chat you are doing, it's on your machine. You don't even have to hook up in the with the internet. You can run everything on your laptop. That would be great, isn't it? Then your privacy is here. Thing is not getting out. You can do all kinds of things with that. That's extremely powerful. Well, that's what we're going to do today to run a similar type model and interact with it on our local machine. We're not going out to the internet after we have it installed. That way, everything that we interact with this AI, this chatbot, this chat assistants, that's kind of like ChatGPT, it is going to be stored locally. It's going to be here on my laptop. So let's get to it. The very first thing that I would like to tell you is there's a couple of ground rules. And of course, all of this thing will be specified in the instructions that I will mention, and I will also provide my GitHub link that I'll have this detailed instruction. So it will be right here. So the very first thing is, again, there are lots of other stuff that you need, but as a rule of the thumb, the very basic things that I kind of put down here. Of course, if you have bigger stuff than this, great. Well, be my guest. That's even better. But at least make sure you have 16 gigs of memory. If you got 32 gigs or maybe more than that, 64 gig, 128, great, nice. But if you don't have it, 16 gig is fine. That would do it. But lower than that, you're probably gonna be crawling and not a good idea. Storage. Yes, you may not need exactly 40 gig, but you better have at least that much space, because depending on how many models you're going to download, some of the models are actually more than 40 gig. Well, we're not going to download those, but I'll show you how to download them. But at least 40 gigs, because we're going to install a lot of, heavily capable and heavily have a heavy presence on your system type software. So it's going to need a lot of space. Plus, the model also needs a lot of space. So make sure you have that much amount of space. If you have a faster disk drive, that's probably better, because it's going to be doing a lot of spinning. All right, now processor, of course, don't quote me on this, but at least I would say have 12th generation of Intel i7 or equivalent CPU, right? However, if you have lower than that, it may work. I can guarantee. But if you have a GPU, that's even better, right? In this laptop, I have CPU. I don't have a GPU, so it kind of crawls. But I have also ran this thing on my other, my daughter's gaming laptop, and that has a GPU, and it's super fast. It just works like flawlessly. So with GPU is better, but if you have a CPU, it's okay. I mean, at least you can do the job. You can see how things are working. So these are the ground rules. Make sure you have these at least. Of course, you can always look up on the basic requirements of each and every software that I'm going to install. That also works, but I just wanted to give a very big, higher level overview of what you may need before you jump into this thing. Okay? All right, so let's say we are ready. Okay, the very first thing you want to do is look at your platform. Here, today, I'm going to talk about the installation on Windows. But of course, the site that I will show you, the site has instructions for Mac, has instructions for Linux as well. So be my guest, look at those instructions. And I have also actually ran this thing on Ubuntu Linux, so it works fine. It also works on Mac as well. But again, today my instruction and my setup that I'm going to show you is going to be on Windows. So please follow this instruction vigorously, step by step. The very first thing you want to do is open a PowerShell and make sure that you have Windows Subsystem for Linux installed. Okay, so basically you got this installed. That's what the first thing you wanted to do. Be sure to open your Windows PowerShell in administrator mode. Okay, so you can type something like PowerShell and make sure you run as administrator. All right, I already have one up, so I'm just going to bring it up. So it should come up like this. Then what you want to do is do WSL -- install. Okay, I'm not going to do it because I already have it installed. If you just do it, and it is very much self-explanatory, it will just do it automatically. You don't need to do anything. If it tells you to restart the machine. But this will install the Windows Subsystem for Linux for you, right? If you already have it installed, what you could do is you can just type this, update. That will also update whatever kernel that needs to be updated. It will just keep it up to date. All right, so make sure you have it installed. And of course, I accidentally hit enter. As you could see, it says that the most recent version of Windows Subsystem for Linux is already installed. So I'm not going to do anything with this. Once you have all that done, you can exit out. You really don't need anything else as far as I'm concerned. Because what happens is, even though it says Docker desktop, it's actually funny because it cannot run without on Windows. It has to have some kind of Linux kernel. So you can only, it actually needs some kind of virtualization, but it works better on this WSL, on this Ubuntu Linux or the Linux subsystem. Okay, so once you have that Windows Subsystem for Linux installed, the next step is you wanted to install Ollama, right? So go to this site, and again, all of this instruction will be on that GitHub page that I was just in. You will be there, so you don't have to memorize the link. I'll also put the link in the description below of the video. All right, so this is the site, and of course, you can click on download, and it kind of tells you which platform, right? Go ahead, click on download for Windows, and it will download the exe file, and just click on it. Click on it and just go with the install. It's very simple, just one button. So once you have it installed, what happens is you will see a little icon that's going to show up in the taskbar. So it's going to look something like this, right? Which means that you have Ollama. The little Ollama icon kind of tells you that you have Ollama installed. Once you have that installed, it doesn't matter. You can either use a PowerShell or you can use a command prompt. It doesn't have to be in administrator mode. You can just open a normal command prompt. So I'm just going to do that. So open a command prompt. PowerShell works too. And then you should be able to type something like this: OLLAMA-V. That will give you the version. As you can see, I have 0.5.4, and that's the latest one that I know. The other thing you could do, you can look at the list of model that you have installed. So if you do Ollama list right now, as you can see, I have two models installed. I have LLaMA 3.2 latest one. This is about, I think, 3 billion parameters. And 3.2 Vision, latest, this one also has about 8 billion parameters. So this one is about 8 gig, the other one is 2 gig. So I have these two models installed. Again, how did I get that? That's what I'm going to come to. So the way you get a model installed is you don't really need to memorize anything. That what do I need to run? You can go back to the site that I just showed you, this, and you can go ahead and click on models. If you go click on models, this one literally has all the models that you can download and install, right? How do you know what to write? But this is actually the largest one. This is the one that's about 40 gig. Okay, be my guest, but you better have a very powerful machine. You really need a lot of memory, like maybe 64 or more gigs of memory, and also need a larger system. Okay, otherwise this is going to be really, really slow. It's going to crawl because it's about 70 billion parameters model. So don't start with this. That would not be my suggestion. Start with either the Vision and this one. So these are the two that I have installed. This one is about 2 gig. This one is about 9 gig, right? The difference is this is a little bit better model. It's got more parameters and a little bit more information in there. So any one of them works, okay? I'm just going to pick one. So how do you know what to do? You click on the model, and if you scroll down, it literally tells you how to get it, right? So this is what you got to run. Go ahead, copy this, and open back your command prompt or whatever, your PowerShell, and just paste it and just hit enter. So I'm not going to do it because I've already done it. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to try to see it and find it. It's just going to take some time. So it will finish it. It will automatically download the model and it will set it in the right place. Okay. Once you initially, if you type Ollama list, you'll have an empty list, nothing in there. But after your model is downloaded, you will be able to see your model in here in the list, right? Now, if you do what they have suggested, Ollama run this, it will literally run it, right? Let me show you. I already have it installed, so in my case, it is not going to install. It will automatically find it in my local machine. And as you can see, this is actually another interface. You can literally talk to the model. So here I can chat. I can say, hey, and of course it will give me, hey, how can I assist you? What is your version? Okay, I have a misspelling word there, but okay, there you go. Did we help? Information, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, so it does work, okay? So don't worry about that. I'm not interested in this interface. I'm interested in this model but a nice web interface, kind of like ChatGPT. So what we're going to do is we have the model downloaded and installed. Now we're going to download the open web UI interface so that our interface looks like a ChatGPT, right? And that can pretty much work on any model. And by the way, Ollama is built by Meta, and of course it's got the Llama model. They are very capable, like ChatGPT and Gemini. But of course, we're using Llama. You can literally run any other capable models that are compatible. There are ChatGPT-like models you can also run on this one too, and there are other types of models you can go explore. Be my guest. So anyway, I'm not interested in this interface. I got the model and I'm done with it. I can just close it. So my next step is I need some kind of UI, right? So again, I'm going to have this link. You don't have to memorize any of this stuff. Those links are going to be in there as well. As you could see, there is Ollama, and then there is also the Open Web UI, and it will tell you exactly what to do. Now, actually, I went a little bit further. Before I go that far in Open Web UI, the other thing that you wanted to do is you wanted to download the Docker, right? So I was in the right place. Here, you got to go to this website, Docker website, right? And again, it's going to be on the instructions. So next thing is to go there. And again, don't worry about the pricing and all that. It's free. You can just download the Docker desktop. We're not going to do anything that's going to cost money. It's all going to be free. So you can just go click on Get Started, and you can download Docker desktop and just get your version. Our version is, of course, from Windows. You can get the Windows one, whichever one works for you. So once you have that downloaded, go ahead and install it. Now, remember, in the very beginning, we installed WSL, the Windows Subsystem for Linux. In order for Docker to work on Windows, you're going to have that WSL, otherwise your Docker is not going to work. It has to run on Linux. It's better, actually. Yes, it will work on other, different way, but I'm not even going to get there. It's easier to do it on WSL. All right, so after you download it, again, just click on it and have it installed. It's very simple, straightforward. I mean, it's no big deal. So I'm not going to go through the install process. It's fairly simple. Choose all the defaults and be done with it. After you are done, okay, then what you want to do is you want to open the Docker, right? So like you have Docker desktop, you're going to run it as an administrator. Remember, run as an administrator, okay, always. Once the Docker is up and running, you should see something like this, engine running at the bottom left corner right here. And of course, initially, you're not going to have any containers unless you have run Docker before and you already have it installed. So right now, I already have the Open Web UI container up and running. That's why you see this. But initially, you can go to the container or images. You're not going to have anything. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that Open Web UI using the Docker. That's the fastest way, and that's the most efficient way to get it instead of running the entire code locally on your machine. That is more expensive, and that may or may not work because you need all kinds of other stuff like Python, specific version, certain modules and all that. So we don't need to worry about any of that. As long as you have Docker installed properly, you'll just get the image and you'll just run that. So that's all we're going to do right now. Let's go and find out how to do it. The very first thing you wanted to do is you can either open a PowerShell as an administrator, or you can actually do that right here in Docker. There's a way to do it. You see that on the bottom right corner, there's a terminal icon. So I clicked on the terminal, and of course it brought me terminal right here. This is the same thing as opening a PowerShell as an administrator. So you can do that too. That also works. This interface is exactly kind of similar as PowerShell. The only difference is it's a little bit lighter. It's hard to see. So anyway, I don't like it. But again, for the sake of just the tutorial, I will use it for now. I actually like to use the actual PowerShell because it's got a better contrast. Anyway, once I have this up, we're going to run some command, and you don't need to memorize it again. Go back to the instruction right here. You can copy it from here if you want. It is this step right here. After the Docker, all you got to do is run this Docker command right here, and this ribbon right here. You can just copy it from here, right? So Docker run blah, 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 blah. Now, again, where did you get that? You don't really need to memorize this. You can literally go to this site, docsopenwebui.com, and scroll down. It says right here, installation with default configuration. If Ollama is on your computer, use this command. That's exactly what we're doing. It's the exact same command that I have right there. Okay. So anyway, you don't need to go there. You can just one-stop shop here. You got a step-by-step instruction on this on GitHub site. You could just go ahead and copy this guy and go back to your Docker terminal that you have and go ahead. You can literally paste this and run it. Anyway, of course, it's not going to work for me. As you can see, it's telling me that I already have a container running Open Web UI. So the container is this. So it's not going to happen, which is fine because I don't need to run it. So I'm just going to exit out because mine is already running right here, right? So what's going to happen is once you run it, it will automatically, it will take some time because it will download, it will fetch probably about, I don't know, some large amount of files. And then it may take some time depending on the internet speed and also the availability of the server. It may take, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or maybe less if you're lucky. And then it will say successful, everything is done. And once you have that done, you get your prompt back, you can actually go back and click on this container. You will see your container is up and running. And you will say something like this, Open Web UI, container ID, blah, 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 image, and port. And all you got to do is you can just click on this guy right here. That will automatically open this. You see the HTTP localhost 3000. And it will automatically find your model because remember, in our earlier step, we already installed the Ollama model, right? So this Open Web UI, what it does, it automatically finds the model for you and you will hook it up and it will show up that, this is the model you're using. So again, go ahead, click on this. Once you click on this, it will bring up a web page that's going to look like this right here. All right, let me go ahead and try again. If you bring up this side, that's what's going to be in. Okay, I have already registered the very first time. You will have another screen that says get started because initially you need to create an admin account. Just go ahead, click get started. And on that second screen, you're going to have 3 information. It'll tell you to put your name, your email address, and password. Just put that. That's your admin. Make sure you remember the password and your email, right? So I'm just going to put my email that I have, and I'm going to put my password that I entered when I initially set it up. So there it is, and you should have an interface like this. This is like a ChatGPT type interface. It's extremely capable, and at the top you have your models that is available. Right now I have 2 models available as I showed you. I have the Llama 3.2 and I have Llama 3.2 Vision. This one is about about some 8-9 billion parameters. This one is probably over 3 billion parameters, right? So this is a larger model. So again, then you can start using these. I could say, hello, what are you capable of? There you go. It just gives me an answer right away. And of course, you change the model, the other stuff that you could do. And as you can see here, you can copy, you can edit, you can also start saying the read out loud, and you can say up and down, regenerate, all kinds of things, right? And you can also, another neat thing is, I have not explored all of these different parameters, but these are all the different parameters that you can tweak, okay? Some of the things are like, for example, the context length is default. You can change it to whatever it is, something that's suits you, the seed, all kinds of stuff that you can change, right? The other thing that you could do is you can, of course, for the larger model, if you could get the 70 billion one running with the 40 gig size, you can also generate images and attach files and all kinds of other stuff that you could do. You can even from here, you can import models, right? If you have a model from some other place that the Open Web UI is compatible with, you can import that also in here straight from this thing, right? So as you can see, this is extremely capable, and I have not written a single line of code. And that's why if you go to this is probably one of my only GitHub repository that I have no code in there at all whatsoever. The only thing I have is 2 files. One is this images, the other one is this README file. So all I got is instructions, and this instruction is very thorough. What I just said, it's probably better written here, and also I have this flow chart. And before I call it off, let me just go through the quick flow chart. As you could see, you got the requirements, which I kind of talked about, the memory, the CPUs, the disk space. That's based on my experience, okay, not what Ollama and all the other site has. They already have their own requirements. You'll see it. But I just wanted to give you kind of like an overview, a simple version of the requirement before you start. Then, of course, you install the web system for Linux. You can install the Ollama. Then you can use the Docker desktop, right? Of course, you wanted to have the WSL first before you install the Docker desktop. And then, of course, you enable WSL. You can download and install Ollama. Then run the model as a test, as I was showing you. And of course, install Docker desktop, run Open Web UI after running that Docker command, and then can start the UI by doing this. Localhost 3000. And you can verify Docker installation by looking at the container, right? That's one of the things. Then here we did Docker, not Docker, sorry, Ollama pull the model. So that's what this is talking about. And you can test the model by just typing something, right? The question. And the verify Ollama installation is basically to check the taskbar, right? That's what we talked about. And install Ollama distribution is, that's kind of like when you were installed WSL, these automatically does it for you. You can even be going advanced and looking at the actual Ubuntu and update and all that. But I haven't shown that. And again, that's beyond the scope of this tutorial. So anyway, it's some of the troubleshooting stuff that's in here, which I hope you don't need to deal with. Most of the time, if you have followed this requirements instruction step by step, pretty much the things are going to work. It's very straightforward. Well, that's all for today. If this tutorial has added any skill to your bag and has benefited you in any way, please do subscribe my channel and also hit that bell icon so that you can get notified for subsequent videos in the future. Thanks. Have a great one. Have a great holiday, and also Happy New Year before I talk to you again next time next year. Take care. Bye.